about to be live here.
Right.
Here we go. All right, we got a little new setup here. So we're trying to get better sound. So hopefully it's better. We're about to test it out here and make sure that this is working all right. Can you hear us okay? We're good. How you doing, hon?
Hey, Zach. Welcome back.
Thank you. I'm back from the wilderness.
Anybody seen City Slickers?
I don't know where you're going with this. This is
Zach had a midlife crisis since he was with us last,
and so I decided to go. I'll show you. I've actually got a picture. So one of the things I'm grateful for. So I am super grateful for this. So this was me on Thursday. I got into this relatively clean thing, and this is what the left side is what it looked like before, and then the right side is what it looked like when I was done with it. But we were out in the middle of nowhere, Utah, for like 3.5 days, camping out and driving these things. I'd never done that before, and we had some people on motorcycles, and it was intense. These things can go like almost 90 miles per hour.
How fast did you go?
Almost 90 miles per hour.
Oh, of course you did.
Why not? But it was fascinating. It's like you have, I think all of us as you know, realtors, and you know, we've got this, there's so much of what we do is this kind of multitasking or omnitasking, or just there's always something going on. And when you're on one of these things on a dirt or gravel road, or going around a curve and there's a 1,000-foot drop off, I didn't do that at 90, don't worry. It was like 75, but no, I'm kidding, kind of. But it was, all of your focus has to be on basically going right, what's right in front of you, and there's something kind of peaceful about that.
Yeah, it kind of shed off anything that's not crucial and
Yeah,
important at the time,
it's
and
like
you're all locked in.
And they took our phones, and they took I've never been away from my phone since I've had a cell phone, I don't think, for this long.
Yeah.
And so for 4 days, 3.5 days, I had no email, no phone, no texting. So
Wow.
and the world didn't stop.
That's right.
It was amazing. So it's like we're all here, and
If you hadn't made it back this morning, though, the sales meeting would have stopped.
The sales meeting may have stopped.
I'm thankful. We're going to get into gratitudes.
Yeah.
I'm grateful you're back.
Good.
Technology's all working.
Technology's working. We were a little bit late this morning, but because we had a couple hiccups. But we did have one. We had one incident where we had to call a helicopter for somebody, so that was a little bit stressful. But
really?
But he's doing okay. He had a little accident, and we were just in the middle of nowhere. So
you had to life flight someone out of like rural Utah?
out of the middle of we had a helicopter land in a field. So but it was good. They were set up for that. So I would encourage it. But anyway, on other news, what are you grateful for?
I already told you.
Oh,
You're back.
The sales meeting. That's great.
Sales meeting.
That's great. Well, thanks.
And I'm back, and that I've still got my my job here with Shane. Didn't totally take over. I heard he was fabulous though.
He was pretty good. So Teddy's got a little education update. He videoed in, so I'm going to let you listen to this here.
Good morning, Village family. Teddy Pence here with the education updates for the week and the best $15 kid and play haircut you can get this time of the morning. Anyhow, today after the sales meeting, let's see, Colin Wainwright and JC and Sarah Connolly will be going over relocation, best practices, attracting clients, and all of that. It's going to be great. Wednesday, tomorrow morning, 9 a.m., we do our Thrive call. Really hope you join that. We go over Reflect, Connect, and Set. So going over good news, gratitude, and grace, hot topics, tales from the trenches, and then setting mindset. And then Thursday, our tech lab this week is from 2 to 3. It's on working with investors in short-term rentals. The amazing Deborah Volley is going to be helping you understand working with buyers, maybe yourself, identifying properties, evaluating cap rates, ROIs, cash flow, formulas, all the good stuff. Then outside education with Bobby Noreen, my favorite, my mom. She's doing the Trek Core through the Clarksville Association on Wednesday, August 5th. Code of Ethics, August 10th through GNR. The Trek Core through GNR on August 12th. Contracts 101 on August 11th, Tuesday. And then our own Lloyd Carney is doing the 7 Secrets of Understanding HPR and PUD Use on August 13th, Thursday. So all amazing stuff happening. And the Teddy Tech tip for the week is don't forget to use dictation on your Mac. So you can go to Settings, go to Keyboard, you'll see a tab called Dictation, turn that on, and you'll see you can just talk to your email and it'll just type away, and its software's gotten quite great. So have a great week.
I did not know that.
You can go to the Facebook exclusive. We record all our sessions and put them on our YouTube page, and you have got an email with all the Zoom links of where to get all this education. So make it a great day, great week, and appreciate all of you.
Good work. That's pretty cool. I didn't know that. So it's like Siri for your computer.
Had me being grateful for Teddy and just the job he's
Teddy?
doing on the education front.
I know, it's great. So we got Lloyd here as well, and
Conley Corner.
Conley Corner. So because I was out in the woods the last few days, you're kind of running the show today. So what do we got?
So you don't have much content other than this?
Well, I've got Megan here, so
Okay. No, we got a lot. So, starting off last week, the Commerce Department released the gross domestic product numbers, and that's the value of all the goods and services produced in our economy in the U.S. So GDP gets announced, and it fell 32.9%, just the largest decline in the history of their 70 years of record keeping. So we talked about this, a few months ago, that the numbers, just because of this shutdown, the numbers were going to be dismal, and we're going to see that. But as those numbers come out, they're kind of lagging where we are today. And so, if you go to the next slide, you'll see like our markets the NASDAQ in particular, kind of keeps chugging along, up almost 20% on the year. Consumer spending also was released towards the end of last week, and that was some good news. It was up 5.6%. So the CARES Act.
So that's consumer spending. That's everything, or that's not like appliances and cars. That's just everything.
That's what the consumer spending. It's not the production. GDP is like production of the overall economy, and then what the consumer spending is, obviously the consumer spending number. So the consumer's still doing relatively well. They have been supported by what was called the CARES Act, which was kind of the government's response to the coronavirus, where they added an extra $600 to unemployment benefits, the PPP program, all of that we've heard of in the news. So that expired July 31st, last week, and those extra unemployment benefits are basically under discussion between the White House and Congress right now as to.
But we're almost a week into August, so
we're a week into August. I think there's a lot of pressure to strike a deal soon, obviously, some sort of deal, and the markets are expecting a deal to get done relatively soon. So if that doesn't happen, that could be troublesome. So that's kind of what's going on in the overall big picture economy. If you kind of dial in on Nashville and the office side, office brokers have really been expecting a flood of sublease space. So you've got these companies, they're on big long-term leases. All of a sudden, people are working from home, their business is struggling maybe, and so they've got too much office space, and so what they'll do is they'll go out in the market and try to sublease a chunk or a lot of their space. And so people have been expecting those numbers to really start creeping up. Colliers International, which is a big commercial real estate firm, tallied all the numbers here locally. And to go to the next slide, it's interesting. The amount of sublease space in our market's actually pretty low. We're just, considering what we've been through, we're kind of in line with where we were in 2001 and 2009, kind of in that range. And really most of that was already in place at the end of 2019. So we're only up about 1% of our inventory so far since the pandemic started. Other markets aren't faring quite as well. San Francisco has more sublease space available in their market than they've had in decades. New York's rents on the office side are expected to plunge like 20 to 40%.
Wow.
As people are moving out of certain markets. But Nashville is not seeing that same decline. But that said, keep in mind, it could still be a number of months before kind of some of this sublease pressure, crests in the market, and whether or not we'll get another surge. Companies are still untangling a pretty complex set of questions as to when to bring employees back. You know, once they get back, how does the office need to change in terms of layout in order to allow for more social distancing to guard against the spread of the virus. So kind of if you look at both webinars that these office brokers are doing, you've got 50% of the people saying our need for more office space is going to shrink, and then the other 50% are saying we're going to need more space. So it's just kind of one of those, we'll see in the next few months how it plays out. It's just something to keep our eye on in the real estate market. Switching over to residential, a couple of headlines. These are two different articles that came out last week. Realogy. So Realogy is a big public company. They are brands Sotheby's, Better Homes and Gardens, Coldwell Banker, Corcoran, maybe missing a couple others, but those are their big brands. They had their revenue plunge 25% year over year, and their profits went from $69 million to a loss of $14 million just in the second quarter. So pretty tough sledding for some of these national companies. Redfin, there's an article interesting about kind of just the volatility in the markets. They went down 40% the first few months of the pandemic, and then up 40% in the last month. So you can imagine they went from furloughing tons of their employees to all of a sudden needing to bring back even more than they had before. They still reported a net loss of $6.6 million for the year. So in case you're wondering, Village, how we did, we've experienced some of the same volume trends that we've seen nationally. A couple of months being shut down, that kind of reduced, and then June really started coming back. As you know, we responded by kind of investing in you guys and our what we consider our best assets, cutting fees and splits. And while we still may be in the early innings of this, we've really come through. You guys have crushed it. Many of you are thriving and having your best years you've ever had. And so we're in a good spot relative to our competition, thanks to all you guys. Just want to say that.
Kudos to that.
Yeah. So what's driving the strong market? This came out last week, and it's pretty shocking. A huge increase of, this is the percentage of home ownership in the United States, and it increased to 67.9% in the second quarter of 2020. So that's a 3.8 percentage point jump. And you'll really see, we're talking some huge numbers, so to get that big of a jump, it usually takes, many quarters to get there. And if you look at the home ownership rate of the home ownership rate among younger people, go to the next slide, Zach. You see that the millennials, kind of the 35, that bottom line, 35 under 35 years old, has really shot up, ticked up from about 11% in the second quarter. So you're now seeing millennials who had kind of entered the prime home buying years, taking advantage of these low interest rates, and
which is interesting because for so long, so many people said, "Oh, well, millennials, they just want to rent, right?
Yeah.
That's all they want to do. They want to rent. They don't want to buy. They want to be, it's all about being free, having freedom to move places." But that's this is showing that that's not the case.
It's finally kind of working their way through. So just kind of a trend going on, and what's driving a lot of the activity in the market is that home ownership percentage going back up. Over time, it kind of stays between 60 and 70%, and so we're getting back. And go to that last slide, you can see how it got really high. The previous slide, Zach, it got really high, kind of in the 2005 range, as the market was strong, and so it kind of stays in that band, and we're getting back on the higher end of that band, which is nice to see. Another reason real estate, particularly residential real estate, is so strong is that for the 7th year in a row, Americans have ranked real estate as the best investment. In 2011 was the last year I think real estate didn't win, and gold was 34% the favorite, and you can see kind of how those numbers have shifted between real estate, stock market, savings account, and gold. Keep in mind, real estate.
Savings account as the best investment.
You got some risk-averse people, I think.
Wow.
But of the 4 listed, keep in mind real estate is the only investment you can also live in. So, a little side benefit.
Hard to live in a bank.
Hard to live.
You can get in trouble if you try to go in there at night.
That's right. So a couple of big trends we've also touched on in the past, but more data is coming out that larger homes are making a comeback. And so for the last 10 years, the McMansion craze has kind of died down, and increasingly young people were paying more for homes that were smaller, easier to maintain. And the 5,000 plus square foot house of the 1980s, just kind of, they were staying on the market longer. They weren't performing as well. If you ever want to kill 15 to 30 minutes, go to McMansionHell.com.
McMansionHell.com.
Yeah, it's a great website. Talks about kind of the funny design elements of McMansions, and if you're not living in a McMansion, it's really fun. So,
If you are, then
you may not think it's as funny. But
I think it's the idea of, what is a McMansion? It's really just sort of space for the sake of space, just sort of this excessive amount of space. But then you end up filling it up with stuff.
yeah, I think some of it is kind of external architecture and these big voids and spaces that don't really line up symmetrical. Some of that, but then also inside just having big rooms that nobody uses. But interestingly, kind of after the pandemic, it's kind of become the opposite. People are trending towards larger and larger pieces of property. They want tennis courts and pools and more space and multiple offices to be able to hide from their kids, probably. But the coronavirus outbreak has really shifted those priorities away from that smaller, stylish design and back to having more space.
Hang on 1 second, Hunter. We got a little.
It's still showing the old chart.
All right, we're having a little. There we go. All right, we're good.
All right, so moving on. I think we've talked through the McMansion craze. The other thing that is so it'll be interesting to see the McMansion thing or the larger home stays with us. Like people live through a time like this and they're like, man, I do need that extra office, or I do want that backyard where we can just kind of hang as a family more often. I've enjoyed being home more, and but it's also been nice having some space. A trend that's probably not going to extend beyond the pandemic is people buying these luxury homes sight unseen. And so I just think some of that's been, go to the next slide, go to the next page. Some of that's been driven by just the obviously COVID, and then just the tight supply.
Yeah.
Right now, there's not a whole lot of inventory. So, all right. So, talking about range, that is something we've talked about in the past, and I kind of want to finish up with this. Kind of on vacation, you get into some different books, and so I read this, or dug into this book. I didn't get through the whole thing, but I got the basics of it. The Vinci Curse, and it kind of reminded me of range. So remember, range is the book we've talked about. As a real estate agent, you need to be a lot of different things to your clients. You kind of need to be an analyst, a psychologist, an administrator. You just got a lot of different hats you need to wear. And so, some of this Conley Corner stuff is just so you know what's going on in the world, and you've got some increasing range. And David Epstein, and the writer of this book, says that in a world that's increasingly specialized, the future may belong to the generalists. And so I've always liked that. The Da Vinci Curse, though, takes a little bit of a different route, and he said, it's great to be well-rounded, but just be careful applying this logic to your career forever. Like at some point you really need to lock in on something, right? And so if you look at Da Vinci, he was pretty remarkable. He was a painter, he was a sculptor, an anatomist, an architect, I mean, a lot more. He was a multi-talented individual, really born in the right era, where the Renaissance kind of awarded men with varied talents and dimensions. But according to the author of the Da Vinci Curse, which is the Da Vinci Curse, life designed for people with too many talents and interests, Leonardo da Vinci may have struggled in our modern age, like because our knowledge base has increased so exponentially from the days of the Renaissance. How would he have fared today? And like a multifaceted guy would have had a field day indulging in so many interests, and would he have really struggled to make a living due to all of that curiosity that he had? Anyway, we kind of all know that the Da Vinci Curse's symptoms are not pretty. You've got contradictory interests. We also kind of struggle with this sometimes. We have bursts of enthusiasms that fade, a feeling that we're not really getting anywhere, though, at least not seriously. And it happens to, in particular, to people that are really talented, have a lot of talents, interests, passions. They can excel at a lot of different things. And so the book Da Vinci Code recommends
Da Vinci Curse, not
Da
code.
Vinci, yeah. The Da Vinci Curse recommends, the next slide, Zach, finding a single pursuit that is complex enough to integrate your talents, one that you can kind of find by using this strategy. And I think being a real estate agent is really good for this. The question is, look for these criteria. Is it fun? Do you have a talent for it? Can you earn money doing it? You know, a lot of creative people dabble in many areas but never achieve a mastery in any of them. And we see this in real estate a lot. You know, people that have their license, but they're also trying to get that, you know, craft brew business going, or they're working on a novel because they're also a good writer, or they do some other business on the side, mortgages or something. And inevitably, they're kind of like not doing anything really well, and so they get frustrated, they're not getting anywhere. It's one of the reasons we really discourage part-time agents here at Village. We just have this feeling we want to be great at it and focused on it, and so I thought that was interesting. The other thing, as you want to get there, there's kind of a couple of different ways to do it. One of them is just keep in mind the power of simplifying. Henry David Thoreau says our life is frittered away by detail. Simplify and simplify. If we simplify kind of our pursuits and what we're about, then our main focus can expand and the results can really be exceptional. The second thing is routines are more important than goals. So in this quote from David Foster Wallace, everything I ever let go of it's hard to let go of things. You know, it has claw marks on it. And so it's not easy to give up things we enjoy, but if we have a goal to be like a top producer, it's the routines and habits that you adopt that will ultimately matter the most. So scale back on some of the hobbies you're less talented or passionate about, set up a regular schedule and focus on kind of the deep work that you love the most. So I thought that was kind of cool. A good like balance with you need some range, but then at some point you also need to really focus in and be excellent at something. It's going to take time. It's going to take focus. And a lot of you guys, our best agents are just like they're focused.
Super dialed in, yeah.
Super
I think what was it, Malcolm Gladwell, who was it the tipping point, who said, you know, mastery takes 10,000 hours.
Yeah.
And I would argue it's more than that. I mean, I'm still learning.
Yeah.
How to be good in this business after 17,
Outliers
18 years.
is the book.
Outliers, bingo.
Yeah. He also wrote Tipping Point, but Outliers is a good one. So that's it. We love seeing you guys around. If you're medically able, wear a mask in the common areas. It's fun to see the activity picking back up. We're still closing an hour early to make sure the office is wiped down, all the common surfaces and things like that. So come by and say hey.
That's fantastic. So mortgage rates have dropped again. So now they are, I think 2 weeks ago we reported they were 2.75% for a 30-year fixed. This week they are 2.5%, 2.5%. A 15-year is 2.25%. That is insane.
Yes.
That is absolutely nuts. So again, 1% equals 10% rule of thumb. For every 1% change in mortgage rates, you get 10. You gain or lose 10% of your borrowing power. So I mean, this is basically free money. I mean, if rates the same time last year were in the 4% range, you've got an extra 15% borrowing power, and the market has not gone up like that. So
Get that big mansion, you always want it.
yeah, go get it. Go get it. ARMs, no change from last week, about 2.5%. So anyway, so I'm gonna switch slides here. We've got Meg Jernigan here, who is going to talk to you about Ludlow Row, or the Ludlow, sorry, the Ludlow, and so we are going to bring her up.
Welcome, Meg.
Thanks, guys.
So come on over. You want to sit over there? I can do your slides for you.
Okay. I'll take my mask off now. Thanks for having me. It's good to be back.
Yeah, absolutely.
The place looks great.
Thanks.
So thank you. And Martha would be here too. Martha's my sales partner on this, but it's the first day of school, so I gave her a hall pass on it.
First day of homeschool.
First day of homeschool, yes, even more cumbersome, right? Got to watch those
That is
kids.
a lot,
Got to
I know.
watch them. Mine doesn't even roll over yet, so he's easy. I can leave him there, and I don't have to teach him anything. So thanks for having me, Zach and Hunter. The Ludlow is across from Ludlow Row. You weren't wrong.
Yeah.
Built by the same developers, Cottingham. RJ Anderson is the builder of it. It's 64 residences total, 5 floors, and it's on the corner of 10th and Scoville in historic Buena Vista. It'll be completion date is around late October, early November, so we are definitely in the middle of sales. We're about 22% sold out right now, and tours can be given at any time.
Nice.
So hard hats, you're good to go. So
You're gonna have like a model space in there when you get it finished.
yeah, well, honestly, we hope to be sold out before it's done,
Good.
before the model's done. But late September, the model will
Okay.
be done, and we can definitely
Good.
walk through.
Very cool.
Walk through that.
Is it? Sounds good. I'm gonna hang on one second.
Oh, you're
I think
fine.
I was trying to show the good stuff.
I can be technical
Yeah.
difficulties.
Sorry, y'all. So
This is the world we're in.
we're just gonna roll with that. You'll just see what you see.
Oh yeah, that's perfectly fine.
So is there retail on the bottom floor, or is that just a
There
little
is
lobby area?
retail. So if you scroll to like kind of the third slide, it shows a rendering of the retail at the bottom. There's 3,000 square feet. So we don't have a tenant for that yet. Kevin Fulton is the commercial agent on that one. He's either trying to find a fine dining restaurant that wants to be down there, which we know right now may be tricky with the COVID world that we're in, or do kind of a turnip truck, coffee, grab and go, kind of something like
That's
that.
cool.
Kind of like Sassafras that was
Yeah.
in Wedgwood, Houston. So that's the goal for the bottom. But 3,000 square feet is a fairly large space to be down there. But just something for the tenants. That's the rendering of the commercial space. So several of the units also have walkouts, so you can park right in front of them and walk right into your unit. Several of them on the first floor
Okay.
have that feature.
And how's the parking set up for the rest of them?
Parking is below grade.
Okay.
So you go down a ramp and
Like
it's
a gated
underneath.
garage?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
It's a gated garage. The door is like a quick up and down door, and then the elevator goes all the way from the parking garage to the rooftop deck.
Oh, very cool.
Yes,
I
very
bet
cool.
you can get some pretty impressive views from there.
Very impressive views. And of course, we never guarantee views, but the buildings on the corners that would obstruct your views of downtown are already brand new, and they're only 3 floors. So with the rooftop terrace being on the 6th floor, you shouldn't have an issue for a while.
That's awesome.
We never guarantee anything, but you shouldn't have an issue for a while. These are some renderings of one of the 2 bedrooms. There's studios, 1+ dens, which is great for the home office that we all
Did I
have
see
right
550 square feet?
now. Is the studio.
So that's a cool. So what's the price point on that?
$245.
Oh, that's great.
Isn't that wild? To live in the urban core at $245 is fantastic. So we only have 2 of those remaining, and then we have that 1+ option. It's the 1+ den, 1+ den / office. So really great for everybody working from home now, and that's been a really popular floor plan. Then we have a 2-bedroom and then a 2+, and so the 2+ den goes all the way up to 1,450 square feet. So a lot of our people coming from, we actually have Loy under contract for one of the 1+ dens actually. The 2+.
Here's Lori's floor plan right here.
There's Loy's floor plan. Loy's
You got an
moving
office?
in. Yeah. a little office space over there. So and it's actually a decent size. You're not kind of crammed in there, so it's fantastic. The 2-bedroom, 2-bath plan, and then the 2+ is the largest plan. And that we have found has been interesting. There's really not a lot of 2-bedroom, 2-bath condos in this price range because they start mid-4s. And then the highest price goes to mid-5s, but the majority of the building is under 5. So it's been really well received. 10-foot ceilings, fantastic light and windows, really great finishes. This developer and this, we call her Kristen with a good taste, but she just has really good taste. She has like a European vibe to her, and so she does a really good job just designing, decorating, and picking out finishes for the residences.
Well, thanks for sharing. That looks really good. So you've got, so you'll have a model in a couple months, and then you're still selling. So if somebody's interested, contact you or Martha, and get more information. Have maybe a virtual overview. It sounds like you got some good renderings. You can go through floor plans.
And I can send you a link too. We're going to do another kind of VIP hard hat tour next Thursday.
Okay.
So in about 10 days. So if any village agents want to come by, maybe 30, 45 minutes, they can get a hard hat tour and they don't have to schedule. So I'll send you the link for that. Sign up after I leave here.
I love it.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate you guys. It's always good to see y'all.
Good to learn about that.
Yes,
So,
absolutely.
So if y'all have any other questions, reach out to Meg or Martha, and I can send out those slides too, just if that's cool. Then you'll have that as well. So.
Meg, don't forget your trek form.
Oh, trek forms.
Oh my gosh, she announced it to everybody. That is so funny. Okay.
So.
Already blowing up.
Don't forget, I'll send this out again. We're pushing 3/4 of the way through the year, so again, a lot of y'all are already doing this, and it makes me so proud for those of you all who send me these every week. If you're not doing it, either send them to me, send them to a broker, or find somebody to keep you accountable. So this stuff works. It makes a big difference. Some coming soons. Don't forget to type in your coming soons at comingsoon.villagetn.com, and then I'll send those out here in a little bit. And then again, in about 20 minutes, we're going to start an education program, and with Colin and who else is doing it? Colin and JC and Sarah Connell. So it's going to be awesome about relocation. So we do have some cool relocation opportunities here, and if you want to learn about that, check in with them. Because JC and Sarah are killing it with relo.
There's also a broker open today, Leanne Vandekamp.
Yeah, Leanne Vandekamp has that.
114A LaSalle Court in Belmead.
So Anna Shea and Leanne Vandekamp, 114 LaSalle Court in Belmead. It's in the Belmead Courts. You just drive down West End Harding Road, take a left on Leak Avenue, and Lincoln or LaSalle Court is like the 2nd or 3rd street on the right. So cool house, and go check it out.
Awesome.
All right, that's all we got, y'all. Email. Oh, emails.
Oh.
Email survey.
Yes. Is that gone out?
Yes.
Okay, so you've gotten in your inbox an email survey, and so we're wanting to get feedback from everyone, how you're enjoying it. Are you just using your email to forward to another email address that you're using? Do you use the webmail that villagetn.com provides, or do you use some other system? So there's some simple questions. If you could fill that out for us, that'd be really helpful. We want to keep improving things like email, which is an important tool for your business. And so that information will be really helpful to us.
That's great. Thanks. Y'all enjoy your week. Be successful, and we'll talk soon.